Hi, my name is Tiara, and I will be doing my final presentation on polar bears because they are one of my favorite animals. According to World Wildlife Fund, polar bears are a threatened species. Polar bears live on the sea ice of the Arctic Ocean, but they not only spend their time on the ice, they spend time swimming in the water as well and can swim up to several hours at a time. Polar bears typically eat ringed and bearded seals because of the high amounts of fat they provide. They are one of the most carnivorous animals and have been known to kill beluga whales on occasion. Polar bears reproduce during the months of March to June, and they typically meet up in the best seal hunting areas. Males find these areas by following the tracks of breeding females. Once there, males fight each other and scare off the other males in order to win the female. The male and female will then stay together for about a week's time. Male polar bears typically have a lot of different mating partners throughout their life. There is typically 3 males to 1 female because females only breed every 3 years while males breed every single year. Now we will move on to some interesting facts about polar bears. Some interesting facts are polar bears have black skin under their white fur. They're the largest meat eater on land, and they have around 10 centimeters of blubber under their skin thanks to those seals. And polar bears can also reach up to 25 miles per hour on land. They also grow fur around their feet to keep their feet warm on the ice. Now I will discuss what has caused polar bears to become threatened in our ecosystem. A big reason the polar bears have become threatened is because of their habitat destruction. Because of climate change, the ice is melting and it causes them to move onshore, which is not their natural habitat. When they go onto land, they have trouble hunting, and polar bears are not very successful hunters in the first place, so removing them from their natural habitat only makes them have more troubles. The second reason polar bears have become threatened is invasive species like humans. Humans hunt polar bears for their fur, even though it is illegal and very frowned upon, but poachers will do what poachers want. Their fur is typically used for rugs. And third, pollution. Pollution has been depleting fish populations, which then means seals don't have as much to eat either, which is depleting seal populations, and polar bears are having a hard time surviving because of this. It's leaving them starving. And also, toxins have been found to cause brain damage in polar bears, which will also make them die off. Pollution of greenhouse gases is causing our climate to increase in temperature, which is causing the ice that they live on to melt. And this is bad because it's forcing them onto land, like I said earlier. And the polar bears are becoming very starved and malnourished because of this. So what is being done to combat this? There are many efforts to slow down climate change. This is the biggest worry for polar bears because it's causing Arctic ice to melt, like I had just mentioned. People have been recycling, reducing, and reusing in order to lower emissions and pollution. Using other modes of transportation that do not require gas is imperative for decreasing the temperatures because it will lower the amount of emissions released into our air. Planting trees is also a beneficial thing to do. Trees absorb CO2 and produce oxygen, which will help balance the levels of CO2 in our atmosphere. If we can slow down or stop the increasing temperatures, there is hope of saving the ice that is left for the polar bears, but I think it'll be really challenging to get it to what it used to be because lowering the earth that much is unfeasible. I personally think that natural selection will benefit polar bears because the polar bears who are not able to survive on the land will die off and leave the polar bears who have the skills to survive on land and are good hunters to reproduce and pass on those genes to the younger generations. Polar bears are also often overheat, And so the bears with thinner fur that don't get as hot will probably last longer than those who are overheating, and those bears will get to pass those genes down along as well. I do not think that polar bears should come to Mars because they are at the top of the food chain. So in order for them to come to Mars and survive, we would need every species they depend on to survive there as well. This would mean we need seals, fish, kelp, algae, coral, and an ocean that has the right pH so all of these things can survive. Instead of bringing polar bears, I think we should focus on plants and animals that are low on the food chain and do not require much to survive. Thank you for watching my final presentation on polar bears.